You ever notice how sometimes the biggest problems we're facing have solutions hiding in plain sight? Well, today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from the book, Elevating Communities. It tackles one of the most critical issues in our cities today by asking a really simple but kind of profound question.
And that brings us to this weird paradox that's playing out in our cities. See, we've got way too much of one thing and a desperate shortage of another. It's this huge disconnect that affects millions of us every single day.
I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. We have all this empty, underused space right in the heart of our cities. And at the exact same time, you have countless people, countless families, struggling to find a home they can actually afford. How can both of those things be true at once? It doesn't really make sense, does it?
The source material calls this the twin challenges, and it's really a perfect storm. On one side, you've got entire downtowns just hollowing out. Work patterns have changed, leaving behind these ghost towns of empty commercial buildings. And on the other side? A full-blown housing crisis with costs just skyrocketing. It's this crazy collision of wasted space and desperate need.
Okay, so if the problem is this massive mismatch between the space we have and the space we need, then the solution has to be about rethinking how we use it, right? And this is where that core idea from Elevating Communities really starts to click. It's a concept that's not totally new, but the way it's being applied, it's pretty revolutionary.
The concept is co-living. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, so roommates? But this is way more than that. Co-living is an intentional model. It's specifically designed around sharing resources and experiences, not just splitting the rent. The goal isn't just to make things cheaper, it's to actually build a real community and foster connection.
So how does that actually work? Well, by pooling resources, everyone shares the costs, which lowers the financial hit for each person. This smarter use of space also means you get access to cool amenities, like gyms or co-working areas, that would probably be out of reach if you were renting on your own. And maybe most importantly, this is about more than money. It's a direct attack on the loneliness that's so common in big cities.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Co-living isn't just a smarter way to rent. The vision in the book is so much bigger. It's about creating this whole spectrum of options that can act as a bridge, a real pathway to something a lot of people feel is completely impossible right now, actually owning a home.
And here's what that pathway looks like. It starts with things we're familiar with, like flexible leases or stable renting. But then comes the absolute game changer, shared equity models. Think about it like this. A piece of your monthly payment isn't just rent disappearing into thin air. It's an investment. It's slowly buying you a piece of the pie. And over time, that can lead all the way to cooperative ownership, where the residents together own and run the whole building. It's a true ladder of opportunity.
And this gets to the very heart of the whole philosophy. For way too long, for way too many of us, our home has been our single biggest expense, just a constant financial drain. This model completely flips that script. It reframes housing as maybe your greatest tool for economic empowerment, a way to build real generational wealth. So who's this for? Is it just for one type of person? No way. Its flexibility is its greatest strength. It can be tailored to fit almost anyone, from students and young professionals, to families who need stability, to retirees, and even digital nomads who are always on the move.
Now, the financial side is huge, obviously. But beyond the logistics and the numbers, the real power of this model might just be its social impact. Because this isn't just about putting roofs over individual heads, it's about actively building vibrant, supportive communities right from the ground up.
You know, I think this quote from the book just says it all perfectly. The end goal isn't just a place to live. It's about fundamentally changing how we interact with each other where we live, shifting from isolation to collaboration, and from being strangers to being neighbors who actually support one another. And the benefits just ripple outwards from there. You foster connection, you reduce loneliness, you bring people back into city centers, which revitalizes the whole area and supports local businesses. And by its very design, it promotes inclusion, because it brings all sorts of different people together under one roof. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, this isn't just some interesting theory to think about. The book frames this as an urgent and, more importantly, an achievable goal. This is a solvable problem, but it's one that's going to take a real collective effort from all of us. And making this happen isn't just on one group of people. Policymakers, for instance, have to get serious about updating these ancient zoning laws that often make it impossible to build these kinds of communities. For investors, there's a huge opportunity here to fund projects that actually do good while also turning a profit. And for the rest of us, our job is to explore these models, to talk about them, and to advocate for the kind of changes that can make our cities work for everyone.
And that really leaves us with one last powerful question to chew on. As we try to solve the housing crisis and bring life back to our cities, maybe the answer isn't just to build more and more and more. Maybe the real innovation lies in looking at all the resources we already have and finally figuring out how to share them better.